Welcome back to my poker channel. My name is Andreas, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the future of poker. First things first, I want to talk quickly about live poker versus online poker. I think that the latter is struggling at the moment. PokerStars has been beaten by GG Poker for the #1 spot now in online poker for quite a few years, and I don't think that's going to change. I think that if you specifically look at online tournaments, then PokerStars, when it comes to, for example, Pot Limit Omaha, they struggle with the guarantees. Sometimes they only have guarantees of 2K, 3K, which is really low if you compare it to the period where I started playing poker, which was in 2013. There were higher guarantees back then. In general, sites are struggling to capture people to play online poker. And then, of course, that is because everything is a little bit dispersed. You know, there's some segregated markets all across the world, and then also there's app poker games, home games that capture some of the market share. However, on the other side, live poker I think is doing really well, and I think the trend is quite clear. There are a lot of recreational players that want to play binds from 500 to 1.5k in particular. I think that segment is very, very popular, and in the US it can go up to like 3,500 and sometimes even 5Ks and 10Ks that are really popular, especially during the World Series of Poker, for instance. So I'm very positive on the live poker development side of things, because I think that there's just a high demand and I don't see poker dying in any way. Now, a second topic is like, how is the security of the game, the fairness of the game, which I follow quite closely, going to develop. And I think that we have actually reached the peak of poker cheating in general. I think the last few years, if I would compare it to, at least my hunches, to the last 10, 15 years, poker cheating has never generated more money than in the last 4 years. It might have been even more than the last 10, 15 years combined before that. And that is largely because of these unregulated games, that those home games that happen on apps, and also with real-time assistance, even on real sites like ACR, GG, PokerStars. There's been so many scandals where people have been draining the industry for cheating dollars, basically, that they have acquired through collusion and other means. So I do think that these days there's the sites that have found a little bit of a response, and they're doing at least what they can to combat those cheaters. And what the cheaters are doing right now is they are not choosing PokerStars as one of the most secure sites on earth, but they're going to places where it's just that much easier to cheat. So why allocate your resources as a cheater and cheat on the bigger sites? I think they're mostly going to go to unsecure games and try to cheat there, and try to find smaller sites that they can attack, and also, especially unregulated places. When it comes to the poker dream in general, which is another thing that I think many people care about, is I don't think it's died, but I think it's gotten increasingly harder. I think I would be dishonest if I told you today in 2024 that as a 21-year-old I would recommend anyone to start out with online poker and grind up a bankroll and try to make a living through that. I think that's generally a bad idea. I think that if you start with only a few $1,000s, it takes you a very long time and to first get good at the game, and then also grind up a bankroll, and then pay for all the increasing expenses. Housing costs more relative to what people are making these days. So it's not easy at all, I think, to start out from scratch these days. Other than that, I think we'll have a lot more players coming in from the recreational poker players kind of side. I think that when you look at the age of people entering poker and discovering poker, what happens a ton is that people in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s just give poker a shot because they've heard it from other people or on the internet, because now we're just so connected and people discover the game that way, and they're just giving it a shot. And because they have disposable income between the age of 30 and 60, more so than the 20-year-olds, I think that it's much more likely that people give poker a shot, they try out the game, and they basically have an alternative to playing the lottery, but with a skill element. And last but not least, I think that There will be new laws that are going to be quite random. I think it's very hard to anticipate which country which has which legislation coming up in the next 10, 20 years regarding taxes, regarding political events, whatever, people not being able to travel from A to B. We've seen in the last few years there's been so many back and forth and all kinds of political events that's one of the biggest uncertainties that I'm also always looking at. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, always drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'm going to see you in the next video.